Good morning. Good morning for us anyway. So, how is everybody? Last live stream we did, we were in a 7-Eleven. I've got to update. What I'm planning to do, and I have just woken up, so I'm a bit dry, excuse me. When we did the joggle, I recorded each day. That was the big walk, the 2,000-kilometre walk from Scotland to England. I recorded on a little device. I recorded every day a diary, and sadly I lost that. So, and it was going to be something we could use if we wanted to write a book or keep reference, but I lost all those recordings. So what I want to do here on the big cycle route around Taiwan is do a sort of daily diary, let everybody know, or let myself know what it is we've experienced, and then hopefully it'll keep you updated as to where we are and what we're up to. And I'll be able to, there's no way of losing it, I'll be able to look back at this and see. So excuse me, it's early morning, I think it's about 7. We've been up for about an hour, Michelle?
Yeah, about an hour.
Yeah, and I've got the sunglasses. Michelle's putting her sunglasses on as well because we're both feeling a bit sort of 3 days of cycling. This is the day 2 vlog, and the reason I'm doing this a little bit late is because we just, well, I'll explain in a second. You're going to get to understand why it is. Don't need to put them on now, Michelle. If you're going to, Michelle's probably not going to appear too much in this vlog. Michelle's there.
Busy.
She's checking the comments, see if anybody's in, and share the video. And if any of you can share it out on Facebook, Instagram, whatever, please do so. Oh, I ate this morning.
I know, me too.
Oh. So what happened? We were in that 7-Eleven, and I told you we were going to find ourselves a camp spot, or we hope to find ourselves a camp spot. Are any people in at all? I can't see because my sunglasses make it harder to monitor. So just do maybe a sound check for me to check the sound is okay. We went into that little town and we found, there's a photograph, the thumbnail is where we camped. We found a little pagoda, and we heard that, you know, camping under pagodas is quite good. And we started putting up the tent. And as we would put them up, I started getting bitten by mosquitoes, and there was a pond not far from us actually, so I'm getting bitten all over. Michelle's getting bitten. We're trying to get the tent up as quickly as possible, and it's the first time we've ever put this tent up, by the way. I know, ill prepared, but you know, we know how to put tents up, so it really didn't take us much longer than it did having known the tent. So we're putting up the tent. We're getting bitten a lot, like loads of bites. I mean, if you'd have done a dot to dot on my legs, it would have been more like a spirograph than a dot to dot.
Hello, Petri.
Petri, g'day. We're in good spirits though, don't worry. But rock bottom is how we felt the morning after the sleep from the last video. So what I've got to do is I've got to do a few diary updates to let you know what's happened subsequently. So anyway, we put the tent up and we sort of rushed inside. There wasn't a lot of room. If you want to put your comments there, we will be, you know, replying to comments. I don't know how good quality the picture is because we're out on a sort of beachfront up on a raised platform. So firstly, as soon as we got in the tent, dogs started barking. No, what happened firstly? It was super hot. Now I'll put your microphone on, Michelle, and then maybe people can hear what you have to say. I don't know where it is though, do you?
No, let me just have a quick little look.
Okay.
Where it might possibly be.
Michelle will have a quick look for the microphone then. So it was so hot. It was at least in the late 20s. It was 28, 30 degrees Celsius. 93% humidity, so super soupy, and it didn't cool all night. The whole night the temperature didn't drop. There was no wind, not even the lightest of wind. So I said to Michelle, I'll go into the town and see if I can buy a fan. And so I went off, left Michelle there, went off into the town and bounced from shop to shop. It's not that late, it's only about 7 o'clock, maybe 6:30, 7 o'clock, because it gets dark really early here in Taiwan. It's pitch dark by 6 o'clock in the evening. So I'm going around the shops trying to find one of those little hand fans, and they're pointing me from shop to shop to shop. And eventually I found a little hardware store, and I bought a fan, and I'm dripping. I'm so hot and sweaty even walking around. It took me a good... Are you plugged on now,
I am
Michelle?
now, yes, I am. Yeah.
So say
Hopefully it
good
sounds
morning
good.
to everybody. Say good morning to everyone.
Oh, good morning, everybody. Sorry.
So, what did you think, Michelle, while I was away at the...
Well, mosquitoes were, as you say, were out in full force. Dogs were barking and thought, are they going to sort of quieten down? And you were gone quite a little while, but I knew you'd eventually turn up.
But when I got back, you were outside and you put mosquito repellent
I
on.
had.
Do you remember?
I had, yep.
So Michelle had put mosquito repellent on. I got back. I actually came back with a slushy.
Yes,
mango slushy.
Mango slushy, that was nice.
This is why we're going to try and do these diaries more up to date, because Michelle's looking at me inquisitively like it's all news to her, because it's only a day and a half ago, but it feels like a long time ago. So we've got to get these notes down to you. So I came back, I had a mango ice slushy, and I said, this will help cool our bodies down a little bit. I had this little fan, I don't know where it is, it's somewhere around the camp gear that we've got here, and it barely did anything, to be honest. It sort of pushed a little bit of air around. We took the fly cover off of the tent, so we were just under a sort of netting, hoping that would allow a little bit more airflow. Now, bear with me today. I'm very sleepy. I'm super tired. Didn't have a good night's sleep last night, but we'll get to that in diary number 3, 4 perhaps. So then the dogs started barking. There were dozens of dogs in this park, and they barked throughout the night, every 20 minutes.
Yep.
One of the dogs came right near our tent and we're under this pagoda, and he's just going woof, 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 over and over and over. So this was problem: mosquitoes, heat, dogs barking. Eventually I went out and chased the dog. I went out in my underwear, running around the park, chasing the dogs, sort of like chasing them away, and they did sort of stay a little bit away, but they still barked. Every movement they barked. Now, if that wasn't bad enough, there's a homeless guy in the next pagoda over from us. He's clearly not traveling. He was homeless, but he's got his radio on full blast. So the radio's going. This is midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, dogs barking, radio. And Michelle and I think about 2 o'clock, I looked over at Michelle and said, I'm not sleeping. I don't know why we don't just get off and cycle, but we tried to. I think, what time did we, about 4 o'clock in the end?
About 4 o'clock, yeah. And because there was the traffic as well.
Oh, and the traffic, idling. So we're next to a main road, the idling traffic. This is why this is rock bottom. You know, we're sat every now and again, even in the middle of the night, motorbikes are whizzing up the road, or big trucks have come along, idling next to us. I think between the two of us, we probably only had 20 minutes sleep that night.
Max, yeah.
And we got up in the morning and felt absolutely exhausted and started packing the tent away. This is, 4 o'clock in the morning. The whole park fills up. All these pensioners are coming out doing Tai Chi.
That bit.
No, you're going to see this, by the way. I've videoed a lot of this for the final series, so you'll see it in more detail. If you want to see the pitch, where we were, the park, the dogs, you will see it. It's going to be recorded it all. And I am going to, but I just can't edit it now. We'll have to edit it sometime later when we have the peace and quiet to do it. So the park's filling up. There's people walking around our tent doing these sort of little, mainly pensioners. There were a few younger people, mainly pensioners. They're out doing the Tai Chi. 4 o'clock, 4:30, as soon as the sun started to creep out, they're all out, hundreds of them. Parades. Very friendly. Oh, morning, morning. And we're thinking, morning. We didn't sleep. Oh, Lord. Excuse me, I'll have a little drink.
So Petri says, a minor tangent. I listen to Zaya Park and I really like the artist. That's what we talked about last time.
Zaya Park's great. Love them.
And Twilight Storm's guitar and stuff says, good morning, evening, guys from Illinois.
Good morning to you. We'll do the comments a little bit later on because I want to keep in the flow of this story. So, dogs barking, super hot and humid. I mean, we just couldn't cool down and sweating through the night in a tiny little tent. We got a very small tent this time, much smaller than the Elixir that we had on the jogger walk. So we're really side by side, very uncomfortable. Trucks idling, dogs barking. I think I've said that before. And so we get up, we start to pack up. The dog that was barking, the one particular one that I chased off, he's my best friend now. He's come and sat right next to the tent. He's just sat there looking at me, you know, a bit like HMV, his master's voice. So there's this black sort of mangy dog, cute little thing, but a little bit mangy. Yeah. He was just sat looking at the tent while we packed it away, not barking this time. He's not bothered now. It's daytime, he's not going to bark.
Yeah, all the dogs stop barking.
They stop barking.
Yeah.
Oh, and at 2 o'clock in the morning, I went over to the hobo over the side, again in my underwear, and I said to him, man, you've got to turn that radio down. And he jumped out of his skin, but he smiled and just turned it down a little bit. But in the end, we got a drone above us. It's the second drone this morning. So in the end, no sleep. So first day of cycling, we're exhausted, we've had no sleep. We get up, go and get ourselves a coffee, I think, at 7-Eleven.
We did.
It seems like a month ago. It was only the day before yesterday. Yeah. And then we started cycling reluctantly. Wasn't aching too badly,
yeah, wasn't too bad.
You know, because we'd only done a fairly small cycle for the first half day. So we started cycling and we were doing quite well. But this part of the route, it's quite a climb, really steep climb. Again, you'll see all the information on the eventual little mini documentary we'll be doing, but there's quite a climb. And we're starting to sort of like get these hairpin bends up into the mountain. We're not cycling, by the way, we're pushing right now. Michelle's exhausted, I'm exhausted. We're pushing the bikes with our beautiful panniers. And I want a little shout out to the two people that have sponsored this journey today. Taipei Bike Works, lovely Alec. He's supplied us with bikes for cycling around Taipei, and a huge thank you to Ortlieb Taiwan. Ortlieb are one of the best bike pack manufacturers in the world, if not the best. And Ortlieb have provided us with some beautiful panniers for doing this cycling around, and I will be sharing some photographs with you, but a big thank you to those two sponsors for this video. So we're going up, we've got the panniers on, it's fairly weighted, fairly heavy, and eventually it's about, I think, maybe about 1,000 feet or so, I'm not sure.
I don't know about on the mountain, the hills.
Sorry, I haven't
very high hills for me.
Yeah, very high hills. So we get to the top.
They were a little bit before that though, isn't it? Because we stopped in that park and it was nice and we had a little lay down.
I think was that after the hills?
No.
Oh, okay, so I thought that was after the hills.
Yeah.
Michelle's reminded me. We stopped in a little town called Daxi.
Daxo,
yeah,
something.
We stopped in this little town. We got this beautiful little spot. It's by a lake. It's got bathrooms, and it was very pretty. And there was a wedding photo shoot going on just next to us. And Michelle and I put the tarpaulin out. We're just laying there relaxing, and the rain started. It drip, 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 and then a downpour of rain. So we're trying to pack everything away, put everything back into our packs. There's nothing we can do now. We might as well get cycling. It's raining, we're getting wet. I'm wearing just a t-shirt. Michelle's wearing, I think, the same t-shirt that I've got on now, pair of shorts and our hiking sandals. And we're cycling, and I did say to Michelle, it's got quite heavy, maybe we can stop somewhere, but there was nowhere to stop, was there?
There wasn't there, nowhere.
From that point onwards, we never saw another decent stopping spot or any convenience stores for probably 5 hours. So it was a long hike. So now we get to the hill, we're going up the hill, hairpin bends, literally sort of zigzagging back on ourselves, going up this mountain. When we got to the top, and by the way, these are diaries. If you don't enjoy them, don't worry. If you enjoy the story, these are going to be not showing you around. They're just logging each day, day by day, so that I can help use this information to document our journey and I won't lose it. So we get to the top of the hill after quite a long slog. Yeah. The roads by this point are horrendous. Now, this is cycling route 1, and I can tell you now, there's going to be some moaning. There's going to be some moaning. We were on stretches of roads with juggernauts zooming past us, double lane roads with just the tiniest little path. It was a bit like the A9 again, wasn't it?
It was.
And it's raining and raining, and there was nowhere to get away from the traffic. There was nowhere to stop. There was nowhere to get out of the rain. And we did probably 2.5 hours of really, really horrendous traffic, like big lorries. I mean, they were respectful. They could see us, and we had lights on the back and reflectors, so they could hopefully see us. But like I say to Michelle, these designated cycle paths, when the government set them up designated like this, they have to be safe beyond reproach at all. They have to be safe for children, pensioners, anybody to cycle. And there was at least maybe a couple of hours of really bad roads where you're going across big junctions, almost like motorway junctions, and you're having to cycle across these things. So no, it wasn't good. And it was raining, and we were drenched. We were absolutely soaked through. So it was getting worse and worse. And I remember we got to the down slope, and that was really quite pleasant.
It was.
Although now, because we were soaking wet, it was feeling a bit cold.
A bit cool. It wasn't,
cooler,
yeah.
not cold.
No, that was one thing. It wasn't cold.
Never really cold.
No.
So we're cycling down the mountain. I've got the GPS on. I don't really know where we are. You know, this is all new to us. This country's new to us. And we started to get towards our final destination, the city that we were looking for. You want to come and sit just over here, or you want to be out of it, Michelle?
No, I'm okay.
You're okay up there?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm
She's
not
there.
actually sat up, so I haven't got.
We have just woken up, so we're both sort of eyes full of sleep. We're going down this beautiful descent, but we're going through little towns and villages. Can you remember anything? Do interject if you can remember anything.
No, we picked up some water, didn't we, when we were up near the top of the hills? We
picked up some water. We went to a police station where they always say they're welcoming the police. There was these two guys sat in there, one policeman and one old fella. And he looked at us like, "What do you want?" And I said, "Can I get some water?" And the old guy sort of said, "No." And then the policeman sort of reluctantly let me fill the water up in his station. And inside the station, they had all these snacks laid out, all these cookies and fruits. And I sort of thought, I know many of the travel logs that I've read have said the police are really friendly, they fill up your water, they quite often give you some snacks. So I sort of said to him, I'm talking a mound of just little packets of cookies, 3 cookies in a pack, big mound of them on a tray, loads and loads of oranges around. This wasn't an offering, this was clearly there to give to people that came into the police station. So I sort of said to him, could I try some of the biscuits? And he was nice. He said, "Oh yeah." So we took them. They were delicious.
They were nice. They were
I don't know if they were the best crackers I've ever had because I was so tired, but they were great. And then he gave us an orange. So every police station welcoming and wanting to give you water and snacks. I give that 20% out of 100 as to being true. The guy was maybe a bit preoccupied. He had his mate in there and they were talking, but we were asking directions by this time because we had to find a 7-Eleven, and we hadn't seen a single convenience store for, as I think I said before, 5 hours. Not a single Family Mart or 7-Eleven. And a young guy we met on the road said there is one coming at the top of the hill. Go to the top. Sorry, I'm back up the hill at the moment. I know we were going down. We get back there in a minute. And we stopped in the 7-Eleven
We
on the
did.
top of the hill, which was really nice.
It
And
was.
we sat there, and were we able to charge anything
We were,
there?
but he had to take it into his back office. That was the first 7-Eleven.
They had no plugs in there,
No.
so the lad kindly gave us half an hour charging. We sat and had some drinks and some snacks and replenished our fuel. And then we set off down the hill. It was still raining very heavily. I did think about getting one of those 7-Eleven waterproofs, which in a way maybe we should have done, but it was because it got heavier and really, really very heavy rain. This has all been filmed, by the way. If it comes out, you'll see it in the documentary that we'll produce. There was a beautiful moment where we were going through a very remote town, and we're looking now for places to stop. Obviously it's getting late and dusk, you know, you can tell the night's drawing in, and we are looking and we can't see anything. And suddenly this motor scooter came up. Have you got the honey, Michelle, or is it put away?
It's put away, unfortunately.
Yeah. Is it easy to access? Maybe Michelle will grab it. So a little motor scooter pulled up alongside us. If you can get my one, Michelle, because I'll have
together.
it. Yeah. Because mine's open and I'm going to explain. Comes up alongside us, starts shouting, and I'm thinking, what's this? So I stop the bike, and this lovely lady on the back of her bike, she's handing me like a packet of honey. I'll show you what it is. Make sure you get the one that's open, because I feel like a bit of honey. She gave us honey. She's saying, I'm a beekeeper. I'm a beekeeper. Have some honey. So nice. And I tell you what, my mind was saying, oh, I need this honey. Absolutely need this honey. So she only stopped briefly. It was still raining. I was hoping to get this impromptu honey tasting episode in. So we got 2 bales of honey. And actually, do you know what? I'm so tired this morning. I'm going to have a little bit of honey. So it's almost like a little toothpaste squeezer. Oh, 67 manna. Be the best. Thank you to that lady. She was a godsend. And I've been, when I need a bit of sugar, since I saw her, I have a little squeeze of honey. And not only, because I remember commenting, we were drenched through, I mean, absolutely soaked. Trousers, but everything was drenched by this point. And I remember thinking, a lot of people say you'll catch a cold. You can't catch a cold from being in the cold, by the way. And I make a little comment about this in the video. But I remember thinking how nice it was that I got some honey for that evening when we eventually stopped. So we now have inadvertently ended up in our final destination, which is a big city called Hsinchu. I'm not sure. It's impossible. A lot of you might want me to sort of give accurate information. We're in the middle of nowhere in a tent, so I can't even get the power to write things down. I think it was called Hsinchu. And I pulled into a bike shop that was open, and I said to the guys, we're looking for somewhere to camp. And he said, well, there's nowhere to camp in the city. And I said, well, what about down by the riverside coming up? Will there be anything there? And he said, not really. You'd be better to go out to the Portland. And I thought, well, and a little bit broken English, but I thought, well, I'm not sure I want to go that far, because it was another 20, 25 kilometers. We were coming towards a riverfront. So Michelle and I carried on cycling. The rain had just started to drop off.
Yeah, we were starting to dry.
Clothes were just starting to dry off. And we came to this big embankment that was the riverside, and there was no way of getting over it. It was just like a massive grass embankment. Wasn't at all what I expected. And we're basically in the middle of a city now. It's like Melbourne Central, London Central, in the middle of a city. And we're both feeling pretty miserable, I think. This is probably the worst moment so far, where we're sort of feeling a little bit low, and we're wondering whether we should try and find a hotel, but it's hard to find a hotel so late in the day. I suddenly saw well, we decided to cycle along, and I suddenly saw a lady come down an embankment jogging. So and it's dark, really dark by now. It's only probably about 7 o'clock,
Oh,
but
it wasn't as
it's
late as that. It got dark really early, I think,
really early.
because of
But it
the
was
storm. It was
so dark.
about 5:30, I think, maybe.
This is poignant to the next point. I thought, well, if she's come jogging down there. Oh no! First of all, I climbed up the embankment, and there was just like a path on the top of the embankment, and on the other side of it was just like jungle. It was just like dense foliage. So we went on a little bit further. The lady came jogging down a pathway, and I thought, well, if she's come jogging, there must be something beyond the foliage. So I cycled up this steep hill. I said to Michelle, you wait here, because we're both tired. We're both exhausted by now. I cycled up the hill, and I could see the path split into the forest, into the woodlands. So I went down to see if there was anywhere to camp, and then I ended up going down a little gravel path where there was like a homeless encampment, like some guy had built a little home in the woods. So I turned around, and then I went under a motorway viaduct, and then took there was a fork in the road. I went left, and there was a big field area, and I thought, this'll do. So now I'm trying to go back to tell Michelle, and I am lost. It's like Hansel and Gretel lost in the woods. I can't find. There are roads going off, little pathways going off anywhere, and I'm between sort of major roads. There's a motorway, and so I got confused about my direction, and I started to panic a little bit, because I thought Michelle will be worried, because I've been gone now. What felt like an hour was probably only about 10 minutes. You remember?
Well, probably was about 10.
Go on, tell them what you just thought. Nothing.
Well, I just thought he just must be keep going, must be finding something. Maybe he's checking out whether the ground's flat or something like that. So I thought he'll come back eventually. I knew I wasn't going to move, because he had to come back to where I was. So I was there for the duration.
So Michelle wasn't worried particularly at all, but I was really worried, because I felt supermarket lost. I don't know if you ever had that when you were a child, lost in a supermarket. I was supermarket lost. I'm trying to get back. I know I found a spot now, so that's a good thing. Eventually, after many wrong turns and back down the homeless encampment area, I found, quite a lot further away than I expected, the road that went down to Michelle, and she's just waiting there patiently. And I said, look, I think it's a good spot. So let's go up there, because there's nothing. We're in that side of the embankment. It's just city. So up, we cycle up the embankment. I think you pushed up, didn't you?
I did push up. It was very steep.
Cycled up the embankment, and then I took Michelle. And by the way, the reason I say it was dark, under these trees, it was pitch dark. I couldn't see the pathway very well. It was just lit by sort of iridescent light coming from the sky. So we're cycling through this little woodland, and I'm trying to pick my way back to the field. And eventually we got there, and it was quite a good field, actually. It was quite a big area.
Yeah.
It looked up onto the cityscape, so there were all huge, great big apartment blocks looking down to the field, but it was a massive field, a huge area of grassland. And we pushed the bikes across the grass, and eventually found a nice little flat spot, and that's where we pitched our tent for the night. And I can report now that I had a really good night's sleep, a long night's sleep.
Yeah, it was good.
Slept like babies.
Yeah.
I mean, there wasn't any dogs barking. There was modest amount of mosquitoes, and we slept for 12 hours straight. And the only thing that got us up in the morning was the sun was belting through the tent and started to roast us. So that is diary. That's day number 2. Day number 1 was covered a little bit in the last video. I'm not going to go much further into this, because this is another sleep and a half after this sleep, isn't it? So yeah. I might do another diary update, because I need to. There's a big bunch of Filipino girls over here, and they're all shouting. You won't be able to hear it. There's another little camp spot. I will give you a little look around our camp spot. Is there any questions, Michelle?
No questions. Everyone's gone very quiet.
So I'll let you see our tent.
Very messy now.
There is the tent. I'll let you see where we are. So here is our view. There is Michelle. Say hello, Michelle.
Hello. There is a question now. Bruce Wayne says, hello, Steve and Michelle. Sounds like the weather and timing of the year to do your outdoor adventure is not the greatest. I think it's pretty good weather. I mean, you're going to have rain.
It's probably the best weather, BW. It's probably the best. So we've got all these wind turbines around us. There's these raised deck areas, and there's another guy on a tent on that one just over there. And there's another one a little bit behind us with a group of Filipino girls on that are having a morning party. Very loud. Very loud.
Yeah, because there was a spot above them, wasn't there? But we decided against.
I don't want to get too close this morning. You'll see all the sleep in my eyes. So, no, it's technically the best time of year to cycle in Taiwan. So, I mean, there's going to be rain. Ordinarily, I think most sane people would just be cycling shorter distances and staying in hotels. But Michelle and I decided to do the joggle thing and camp again. And I think, I know a lot of people in the joggle said, why do you do this? If it's so hard, why do you do it? And I think it's because, well, I know, it's because it makes you feel alive. These sort of adventures make you feel alive. I mean, you get one opportunity. You can either do, sit and think about the things you'd love to try. I mean, if you think about it, Scott of the Antarctic in the tent, wind blowing, a gale, or somebody crossing the Atlantic Ocean, or even doing, a marathon. At the time of doing these things, nobody is thinking they wouldn't rather be at home in a nice warm bed. Everybody's thinking that. But the reason they're doing these things is for the sheer sort of life that it makes you feel, to just get up without any planning and hike 2,000 kilometers or cycle 1,000 kilometers around an isle. It seems crazy. We used to have a channel called Stepping Off the Edge, and it sort of sums up the way Michelle and I feel about life. Sometimes I think we did enough things when we were younger that were completely off the wall, BS crazy, and we always realized they always worked out fine. So even though this feels many a time like we want to give up and we've only been going for 3 days, I'd rather be doing this than sat down on a sofa watching the TV or something. It's just one opportunity to live a life. You might as well do things that really challenge you, and anything is possible. You would be surprised if this inspires anybody at all to just pop a bag on their back, walk out the front door and just go south or go north for 2 or 3 days, and just probably needs to be a bit longer than that, because it's usually 2 or 3, the first 2 or 3 days are the hardest.
Petri says, another perspective, you create some awesome memories too.
Yeah, and it does create memories, and this is why actually I was a bit disappointed in the joggle that I lost all the daily recordings. I would sit in the tent at night and go through everything that happened that day so that we couldn't forget, a bit like taking notes, but I lost all that. And now I could sort of mnemonically go through the whole joggle and try to sort of remember everything, because maybe photographs would bring some of those memories back. But this diary now, you're going to get diary hopefully daily, maybe every second day. They won't be in order because it's really hard. While we're traveling, it's really hard. Even this morning I said to Michelle, I'm going to do a live stream. I don't feel like it. I do not. I've had another roughish night. Not the night before, but tonight was a little bit hard, and so we're not well slept. We're feeling particularly hungry. There's nowhere nearby for coffee. We've probably got an 11-kilometer cycle just to get a cup of coffee this morning. We've run fairly short of food. We're just down to a few snacks,
Yeah.
and we're getting low on water as well. So I said to Michelle, I just got to do this live stream because I left the last one hanging as to where we were, just to let everyone know that that we're okay, that we had the worst night of ever. I think the worst night ever camping, and we've camped a lot.
Yeah.
Worst night ever.
I don't think we've ever had one where we've not really slept.
Not slept.
No.
Not one where we literally haven't slept.
No.
So I didn't feel like doing it, but I need to do it. Otherwise, I'm going to end up getting behind, and these stories aren't going to get out there. And if anyone who comes to cycle this route wants to watch the series, the live streams are going to be the ones to watch, because you're going to get it really raw and real as to what this is like. So day one was the cycle to the 7-Eleven. That's the first live stream. This is day two. Hellishly bad, and we've learned, do not sleep in a city centre. You know, that a lot of people say that works. I'd be very wary about doing it. Every time I see a place now. Oh, by the way, before on the raining section, we did pass a little temple, and I said to Michelle, this is just another note for me really. It was a temple, and I said to Michelle, we should stop at that temple. And we thought, nah, it's maybe not appropriate just to go in the foyer of a temple. And both of us wish
we stopped, yeah,
at that temple. Because we ended up getting probably a better place.
We did. It would have been noisy.
But it was 2.5 hours,
yeah.
3 hours later.
It seemed to be a long time, didn't it?
So yes, so these are just documenting the trip. If you were doing the cycle around, I would watch the live streams. You know, to hell with moaning. This is the truth of what it's like. First day was fairly good, lots of stopping spots, lots of beautiful stopping spots, but we didn't take them and ended up stopping in a town, which was the wrong thing to do. The second day it rained, and also
hills.
Hills, but no, the hills I can put up with.
No, the hills.
The motorway, no, Michelle, the motorways, the traffic was worse.
Yeah.
They are not cycling safe routes. One driver on his phone had a little bit too much to drink. That is not. You cannot call that the Taiwan one. I'm sorry, guys. The government here have to be very careful what they designate a cycle route. That is not a cycle route unless you're super young, fit, and proficient. And even then, one person on a phone, one person had a little bit too much or a little sleepy. You're on dual carriageways next to very big trucks moving huge amounts of things, and hundreds and hundreds of trucks past us. And it was raining, and it was only about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, but the sun had gone down. It was very dark. Cycle routes need to be friendly enough for you to go with your kids, to go with your grandma. You know, they need to be properly safe. And what they need to do on those sections there, have some heavily protective concrete barriers between you and the traffic. If you're going to call that a government stated cycle route, it has to be. I'm sorry, that is not good enough. And we've had a few more pieces like this, so yeah, we'll document it. You're going to see for real what this route 1 is like. The next day is going to be a little bit better for you. So
Alice Maple says, welcome to the Taiwan district.
Thank you, Alice.
And Alfred said, what's for breakfast, mate? Taiwanese sausage, must try, very delicious.
Right now, it'll probably be something from a 7-Eleven. If we see food now, we'll wolf down whatever we can find. I haven't done.
We've pinpointed our coffee stop, so
Yeah,
we know where we've got to go.
We've got about 11 kilometres drive to get coffee this morning.
Drive, you mean cycle.
Cycle to get coffee this morning. I know when we sit on our seats, our backsides are going to feel very, very tender still. That's going to happen for at least, I know from experience, that'll be 3 or 4 days before our backsides get sort of, Michelle's got bruises all over her legs where she's sort of banged them against the seat getting on and off. Yeah, it sounds great, doesn't it? We are having fun.
We are having fun. And there are some beautiful spots, and some of the cycle paths are lovely.
Some of the cycle paths
We're just highlighting the ones that are not good.
The one I'm saying about the sections, the problem is if you're doing route 1, you have to do it all. And therefore, everything has to be good enough. So somebody who's ever responsible for that has to either cycle it themselves and say, no, 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 this isn't true. If they say there is a cycle route that goes the whole island of Taiwan and it's 900,000 kilometers, it must be cycle worthy for all level of cyclists. That's my opinion. Anyway, we're going to have to pack up our tent. Are there any questions?
No, I think we've
just came through.
We've just.
If you've got any final comments, if you want to support us, by the way, best way to support us is want to buy us a coffee, either here on YouTube. We always appreciate that. There's also a PayPal link if you want to send us something for Brekkie. We'd love that. That's always pleasant. That lifts your spirits. You can also become a patron on patreon.com. Those links are all
They're all
below.
down there.
If you want to support the channel, that does help. It does kind of bring a smile to our faces. It's always a good thing when somebody sends us something. I know some people don't like that sort of thing. I don't really care. I'm saying this to be appreciative of the wonderful people that do occasionally do that, because we love you dearly, and it also makes you feel just a little bit nicer some days when something pops through and says, oh, get yourself some lunch or something. That's great.
So Petri says thank you guys, glad I got to see you.
Thank you, Petri, for joining us. It's so nice when the regulars come in and say hello.
Alice says thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Alice.
Come and just you're tired. Bring your tired
my tired body down here.
All right, Michelle's feeling very sleepy. Love to you all. I'm sat on a wooden planks, so we've got to pack up,
get
going, everything put away.
Go and get our coffee.
Take care. Can you stand up?
Yeah, I can do my thumbs.
All right. I've got to go over there and do the off button. Be good. See you next time.